I would like to ask the Senate, how do they feel about recordings? I know that in our bylaws, we currently only allow one person to record, and that is the secretary to maintain records. So I asked the Senate, are you okay with being recorded?
You have no choice.
No.
I'm fine with it.
I'm okay with it.
I'm protected by state law. Yeah, I am.
So, with that being said, we do have a few people here who have stated that they would not like to be recorded. I would like to remind the individual that if he intends to use the recording in a malicious way any way possible, being pre-warned, he can be charged with harassment.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thank you. Moving on. We are at the discussion for the 15, 16, 12 minutes. Any discussion? Moving on to a vote. All those in favor of approving, I believe it's an amendment, presented by Treasurer Alice. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstained? 10. Okay. Now we're moving on to the agenda for today, 15, 16, 13.
Move to approve agenda for Senate meeting 15, 16, 013.
Second.
Yes, Treasurer, what? Discussion? Treasurer Alice?
I move to amend the agenda to add on approval of tabled minutes for Senate meeting 15-16-010. What you adding again? To approve the tabled minutes for Senate meeting 15-16-010.
Do I have a second to add to amend the agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, with that being said, all those in favor of approving this amendment, 15-16-010 to be approved, the minutes? Pointed? Oh, wait. All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay. We approve the amendment to include 15-16-010. Anything else?
All right here, baby. Maybe I'll sit up here.
All right, so moving on. We have an amendment here. Anything else to add or like to motion in? No? Okay. Move. All right, so we're going to vote on the amended agenda. All those in favor of amending agenda 15, 16, 13? All those agree? All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay, going to 15, 16, 010, minutes, Senate minutes. Yes, Treasurer Alice.
I move to approve the amended Senate meeting minutes for 15-16-010.
Second.
Yes, Treasurer Alice.
There was just some minor edits. Some of the discussion points weren't finished, and then some of it was some of the executive senators, it just said executive SAC instead of executive senator. So I made the amendments. I have it highlighted here. I can pass it around. I have emailed it to our data director, so she will have it to do. But if anybody wants to look, it's minor things that had to be amended, and we had tabled at our last meeting.
Does it affect the business that was discussed on that? Okay,
Does not affect.
so no effect to the business. That's very good. Anything else? All right, with that, I'm going to move to a vote. All those in favor of approving 15-16-010 minutes as amended, raise your hand for ayes. Nays, abstains. Ayes have it. All right, moving on to executive reports, 5.1. That's me. Oh, wait. And Allison. Sorry. Kind of way. Please forgive me, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts on all the reports that I have to do. Equipment sizes. Oh, CSO farm. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to start off with is community size requirements. The USA president would like to request that all USA committees have more than 3 members on them. The requirement can be filled by leaders or students. And when I say leaders, I mean CSO leaders, so it doesn't have to be within USA. The only committees that are exempted are listed: PR committee, RISO, legislature, caucus, Hilo ambassador, BOR, advisor search, Kalamaku, Ho'olaulea, elections, and all campus committees and CSO liaisons. Now, discussed in the op session that the campus committees, we are not in direct control of that. We are actually selected to go and be on someone else's committee, so we have no power over choosing who can be on that. Specifically, the reason why these specific committees are excluded is either the system or level that they operate at that requires you to be inside of a CSO, or if it's internal workings, like the advisor search and PR. So that is the only reason why those are excluded. I will set a deadline of 2 weeks for members to show up with the new list of committee members. The new committee rosters are due by October 23 Senate meeting. So I encourage you to go out and garner students to join. And look, there's students here. Ask them if they feel like joining one of those wonderful committees like Earth Day. So that's my report on committee size requirements. Moving on to, yes?
Why is Riso on that list?
Resos, because Resos actually go to Ryan for help, and he's more of an assistant. It's like a way to funnel them, to help them with their funding requests and stuff like that. So that's more of an internal committee, so we can funnel them in. It's kind of like being the head.
It's not
Like,
that he can't get
yeah.
those 3 members, it's just he's not gonna be able to.
Yes.
Although I highly encourage.
Yes. Those of you in Resos, join that one. Okay. Moving on. Oh, not that one. Okay, we have our CSO forum coming up October 14th, 2015. I would like to garner support from other CSOs on the following topics: stipends and graduation regalia for services. I will be attending the meeting, and any actions I will report back to the Senate.
Sorry, I didn't see your date here. The October 14th one is canceled.
Oh, wait, that's why I changed that one, on my,
Yeah, so it's on November the 4th.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't see your date here.
Change November the 4th, one. Okay.
But those
so
are great topics to bring up, so
I will be bringing up
the
those.
agenda's on the Google Drive, so just put it up there.
Thank you. Okay, so noted, the date is different. Okay. Which one should I choose? Okay. The next thing I would like to report on is the CSO stipends. The president would like to inform the Senate that I have plans to meet with the financial aid office, also including the VCSA and the campus center director, to discuss the possibilities of redefining the meaning of the CSO stipend. Now, it is my hope that with the appropriate people in the room, we can come to some type of solution regarding the stipend. This has been a system, this has been discussed in the system level and at caucus, and I hope to continue this conversation on our campus. Yes, VP.
Point of order.
Yes.
You're right. What are the odds that we can get those signs down so those two people can sit on those chairs?
We can grab more chairs.
Oh, blanking out. No, you guys should sit. No, for sure. I'm gonna put it right here.
Are you taking every chair?
Here.
Just for the
That's a
fact
good
that
idea.
that's the exit,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna ask you to sit. Sorry. Thank you, though.
There you go, right there.
Thank you, Larry. Very
Yeah,
considerate.
good eye.
Awesome. So, continuing, a lot of people don't know is that as being on a CSO, student leaders are given stipends for their time that they put in, because mainly this is a volunteer position. Stipends are used to recoup costs that we incur while volunteering, so paying for gas, traveling from our homes, being in meetings, missing meals. That's kind of a particular one for me, being in housing. All those things affect us, so we receive a stipend to recoup our costs. But unfortunately, if you are financial aid, like some of our members, it affects your financial aid, and a lot of the times you have to end up paying back your stipend to financial aid in the semester following, because it's counted into your overall financial need. Now, the discussion is quite long, so if you want more information, I can totally iron it up for you. But I want to fix the situation, because this is also something recognized at the system level of being a problem of getting people to participate. A lot of the times, CSOs have a hard time retaining members because they get involved and they take the stipend, and then later on they find out that they owe financial aid. So instead of continuing their involvement, they have to give up being in a CSO, which tends to cripple the CSO because now it's down a member, and it really hurts the campus because it's unable to provide the services that it would like to the students. So it's a conversation that I'm going to start having with the financial aid office and our vice chancellor of student affairs. On another note, speaking of, okay, I'm going to go with the advisor, Mahoy. So everyone, this is our advisor, or our interim advisor. She's currently on loan from the other CSOs. I say that loosely, but also seriously. The fact of the matter is that we, as a CSO, did not allocate any funds to have her here. I mean, she's here because she wants to help us get through the process of acquiring our own advisor. But the fact of the matter is that USA demands a lot of attention just to function. And as you all seen, she's appeared at almost every meeting, especially when we have those special ones or when we have those late night ones like this. But the fact of the matter is that we did not put any funds forward. And so I would not be surprised if other CSOs begin to question our ability to utilize something that we didn't technically pay for or put out for. Now, being in her position, I would like to thank her and putting out this extra time, but it makes me question our integrity if we don't support or kokua to the situation. And being that USA, our budget is slightly different from others, and so other CSOs, they have allocated large parts of, well, not large parts, they have allocated funds away. And to us, it might not seem that much, but to them, it's actually quite a lot. I'm not trying to nickel and dime or anyone, but I think that USA needs to really evaluate the situation and maybe even consider pitching in to the pool, so we can stay on a fair level with our CSO brethren. Any discussion on this? Yes, Treasurer Alice.
How much are we talking?
So right now the numbers, we would have to ask the Campus Center Administrative Fiscal Support Specialist on what exactly we would go for. make it known, it's not giving me a raise or anything, it's just assisting in the cost of my total cost.
Yes, Treasurer Alice. And then-
Sorry, I just wanna share some, because a lot of the members are new, so you don't know the discussion and why it was voted that we weren't gonna pay for Shara. So, I was there and I just wanted to share everybody with the discussion. So it was brought to us before Shara was, hired, and actually, USA did attend all the interviews for all the candidates. And we, it was brought to our attention to split the cost of Shara's position, amongst all the CSOs. However, at the time, we were in the middle of trying to get a contract through in order to hire our full-time advisor for us. And I don't even know if it was full-time or part-time, it's just putting the contract through. And we were advised from Campus Center that in doing that, since we had submitted the contract and we were already putting aside student fees for our own advisor, that they were okay with us not paying for Shara's position. And also at the time, we still had Ellen Cusano as our advisor. When she stepped down in March, Shara did take on the interim advisor role, with the understanding of she's here to support us until we get a full-time advisor. I did approach Shara when this all happened, asking if she would be willing to consider being our advisor, if we should pay for a portion of her stuff. And the discussion also included Ellen Cusano, the Campus Center Director, and we were advised at the time not to pay for it because we were going through for the big amount. And we do have, I believe it's $15,000 set aside to hire an advisor, and we would need somebody more full-time. I know Shara gives a lot now, and I greatly thank it, but it's just something we need to consider because we do have $15,000 put aside for an advisor already, so. And that was the discussion, and we voted no just because we knew that there was a big chunk, and we were, at the time, we were told $60,000 was gonna maybe be put aside for a full-time advisor. So considering that and the amount that we needed to pay for Shara's position, it just wasn't something that was feasible at the time. So, and if you could get the numbers for us, just so we can kind of look, because the difference between hiring an advisor now and whatever might be the difference.
You're gonna offset the cost.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Senator
Just a question for treasurer, so can we, like divide the amount allocated for our full-time advisor and in the interim pay by monthly, can we look into that? Or allocate part of our budget for
Actually,
full-time?
the allocated budget right now for the $15,000 is not even for full-time, this is up to 19 hours. And if we decide, whoever the advisor search committee, if they decide that we don't need the advisor for 19 hours, that is up to us. And like I said, we did budget, the 15,000 was gonna be a starting for September, so we do have September and probably all of October that we wouldn't have to, we're not budgeting, I mean, we budgeted for, but we haven't paid. So the difference, I mean, we could technically pay, that's why I'm just asking if we can get the numbers, because the difference could actually pay for her.
I'd like to recognize B-Side, she's the chair of the OSP.
If you record me and this goes anywhere online, you have to blur my face. I know my rights too. It's not a discussion. You just have to nod your head.
It's a public meeting.
It's not a discussion.
Sure, we can discuss it.
I said it's not a discussion. It's $6,000 from each BOM, BOSP, and SAC. So at our meeting, we can discuss how we're going to allocate that.
So you, sorry, just a question.
I will make a point to let the group know that there was an email sent out for all the heads of the CSO to meet to discuss this. I wanted to inform you guys before this meeting to be transparent. Senator Pam and then Treasurer Alice.
Seeing as some of the audience here are uncomfortable as with being filmed, I would just like to ask you to please respect their rights as well as our rights. But seeing as this is a public meeting, I see you recording us.
It's called freedom of the press.
I understand, but we also have our freedom of privacy. So
It doesn't
I'm asking
override
you to
state.
Please respect everybody's privacy.
Your idea of privacy doesn't override state law.
Your idea of freedom of speech is not.
Alright, that's enough.
Yes, it does.
I'm gonna make
Can we
this,
motion to remove the
one
words?
moment, I'll make this perfectly clear. That if this recording continues to be a disruption to this meeting, I'm going to ask you to leave.
You cannot for recording.
If your recording continues to be a disruption to this meeting, I'm going to ask you to leave.
You can do that, and you can call security.
Perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Now, Treasurer Alice.
Just a question for the, so, you guys have, each CSO minus USA right now has allocated or is being asked to allocate $6,000 and
We're
is
not
that for
being
the,
asked, we have allocated
have allocated
$6,000.
for
Yeah.
this complete year of, for SHAR's, okay. Thank you, I just want, thank you.
I think we've exhausted the discussion on this matter, and I will move on to the next. The next point is fees. At the last CSO forum, there was talk of flattening the fees for students who only take, I believe, 4 credits at the same level of those who pay the full fees at 6 credit. I would like to set a deadline to the Senate to review and come to a consensus. The deadline I'm going to set it up for the e-board meeting at 5 p.m. So I would like to ask every senator to submit their findings via the Senate committee report form under the title of student fees. So when you submit your review or findings or anything that you went out and researched on your own regarding the fees. So to be clear, there was talk at the CSO forum because students who only take a certain amount of credits do not pay the full fees except for the Student Life Center. Everyone pays that regardless of how many credits. But if you take a certain amount, if you take a lower amount, which I believe is 4 credits or less, you don't pay the full student fees. Now I think there's like maybe 200 to 300 people or students who are currently enrolled for only 4 or less, and they pay a reduced amount of fees for the CSOs, for all the CSOs. So the conversation is that we should do the same thing like the Student Life Center and flatten the fees out at the regular level for everyone else, 12 credits or 6 credits amount pays. This would be a considerable amount of money for students to pay for fees, especially when they're only taking 4 credits. So the upcoming CSO forum, which is in November, which I thought was next week, is coming up, and I would like to have a consensus from the Senate to review it in the executive board meeting, and then later on bring to a resolution on how UHHSA stands on this. If we agree, we disagree, what is our findings? So I can submit this all to the CSO forum. It's also been requested by the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs to come to a consensus, because I do believe that there is a conversation coming up relatively soon at the Board of Regents regarding fees, and we want to be prepared for if we are not, or if we're not a part, we just all need to come to a consensus, so by the next CSO forum. But I want to get your guys' response by the next e-board meeting, which is next week, Tuesday. With that being said, I'm moving on. I'm going to recognize you.
All right, because I'm the only one participating as a student. But so we talked about fees, and you can see this right here. Students can't afford tuition. The fees keep going up, the tuition keeps going up, and you talk about fees, but what I'd like to see you guys talking to students about if they can afford the fees, or if they even want to pay for the fees, because a lot of students don't want to pay for it, and they're not getting very good bang for the buck, to be honest, if you look at here. And so I'd like you to consider looking into that, please.
Thank you for your statement. And senators, take that into account when you submit your findings through the executive or through the committee report. Please, it's due by 5 o'clock Tuesday. All right, last thing on my report is the Kaua'i challenge. Now, would you be clear? I do want zero outbursts, zero disruptions during this report. Due to the removal of Senator Schaus, the trip to Kaua'i is still on the table. At this time, the trip is paid for and cannot be changed or refunded. This leaves the UHHSA Senate in a precarious situation. The Senate has the ability to say that Ms. Schaus may not attend the training as she is no longer a student leader. Or the Senate can choose to send Ms. Schaus on this training to receive leadership training that would increase her knowledge on leadership and provide a positive outlook on CSOs. So with that being stated, I'd like to open the Senate up to discussion on their feelings on if they support or not support, and if they support or not support, their reasons why. So, VP Jose, could you please do stack for this? And I will start with the Treasurer Alice.
I wanted to share, I received a proposal from Naomi, and she's in the thing so she can speak if she needs to. It's regarding the Kaua'i Explorations training with Amber Schaus. So it's addressed to all of USA, so I just want to read it to you guys. So, Aloha USA, the Kaua'i Explorations Leadership Training Experience is being held from October 30th to November 1st, 2015. The training is being held on Kaua'i Island, and expenses have been allocated and processed for the following 3 USA senators to attend: Amber Schaus, Daniel Woods, and Ryan Stack. However, as of Monday, October 5th, 2015, Amber Schaus was removed as an USA senator by USA. As the leadership coordinator, I would like to recommend that Amber be given the opportunity to attend the training for the following reasons. She is still a UHHSA student who is involved with other organizations, and the training could benefit her learning more about leadership styles. The Kaua'i Explorations training incorporates networking and team building opportunities with other students from UHHSA and Kaua'i Community College. It is another learning opportunity about diversity and learning to communicate effectively. Another one, Mason Chalk of Kaua'i Team Challenge is the executive director of his company, a master trainer with the Leadership Challenge, and a Kaua'i County Councilman. He will be able to offer leadership perspectives when it comes to ethics, leadership roles, and Native Hawaiian cultural values. And the last one, the airfare, travel, lodging, and fees are non-refundable, and another USA member will not be able to substitute in Amber's place. This is not allowable by UH system guidelines. If Amber is not allowed to participate, then this will be an expense USA will not be able to recuperate and will need to take it at a loss. As a student participant, and if Amber is agreeable to attend, she would need to comply with the standards of commitment which I have set for all students who are attending. This includes the following. 1, a student behavioral contract. B, a health and safety guidelines. C, a risk and release plus medical info. D, liability forms. And E, mandatory orientation to discuss student participation, expectations, and consequences with Kaua'i Explorations. I hope you will understand the overall intent of this recommendation as an educational learning experience which Amber can participate in with other fellow students. I will await your decision on this situation and will respect the final outcome from USA. And like I said, this is from Naomi. And then if I can, I guess I'll just get back on the stack for my personal.
Any other comments?
I say why not? It's definitely a really good experience that you totally learn from, and it would help with team building exercises and work out potential issues that did occur. So overall, it's just a good experience to have, and I would say that it would just be stupid for us to say no.
Okay, so for my personal input, I also think that it would be beneficial for Amber to attend this. However, we do need to make sure that it is stated that she is not attending as an official representative of USA. She will be attending as a student leader. And I would hope and like to encourage, and maybe we can talk to Naomi, just that she goes on this and with not a bad feeling or speaking down towards USA, because we would really like her to go to this and just get the leadership experience. But I don't want it to be a bad experience for USA too, to come back in here that we were talked poorly about or whatever when we supported her going. So I highly recommend that we pay and let her go too.
Any more discussion on this? All right, to close it out, I'm going to actually request that there be a motion put forth, but as the president of this organization, I do believe that we need to install some stipulations in regard to this request, if it is approved by the Senate. And I believe that they're reasonable, especially for the fact that, you know, this is coming directly out of our budget, money spent or money not spent. I believe that she should attend this training, and I think you would definitely improve her leadership skills. But I also believe that Michelle should agree to maintain a positive stance towards USA and its members up until the training. I also believe that she should maintain a positive stance towards USA and its members at all times during the training. I would like to enforce, I guess, some type of contract that should Michelle's, I guess, fail to follow the provisions, especially the ones that I stated, that we hold her responsible for the cost of the training, especially if she goes on this training and she doesn't hold to the one about maintaining a positive stance. The point of the training is to learn, to grow, to build, and we do have USA members who will be attending this. And I wouldn't want this training to be soiled if there's any type of negative response. I want this people to go with positivity, to learn and come back with positivity. I will go to Ricky. And
Oh, you can go ahead.
I personally don't believe in the contract. By setting the contract in the first place, you're making the assumption that she's going to say something bad about us, and I just want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't believe that there needs to be some sort of agreement. It just doesn't seem necessary, and quite frankly, unfair for Amber.
You can't make a contract for somebody to have a positive attitude.
I disagree. I think it's possible. But Daniel?
I completely agree with both of you, actually.
And then
It's not that you can't, like, you totally could. I think it would just be kind of a dick move, per se.
I'm gonna have to censor you for that language. But
It would be a not so nice thing to do, because and she's a big girl. She could totally, like, it's easy to suppress things and not do certain things. I don't think that we have to, like, hold her up to a contractual obligation to act a certain way. You should just be expected to act professional if you're going to a professional event.
Naomi?
The students who are going to this event will all have already agreed to a behavioral contract, which deals with their behavior as UHHSA students. I do not believe that we need an additional contract onto that, because number one, if USA is going to be funding all other students with other projects, is this the same type of contract you're gonna have for all of them to be equal? So I feel that it's really unfair to have that, and I feel that there needs to be some trust in this. And that we give Amber that kuleana to be formal about it.
Treasurer
Okay, one I wanted to ask, is there, maybe you or you could answer, is there any way that USA could ask for a student to have to pay back if something comes back later? Like, are we able to do that, to say that they have to pay because of something that was done? Like, let's say, let's say you guys, I go out and start, you guys fund me to go somewhere, and I go out and start posting all kinds of bad stuff about USA, and you guys want me to pay back for that thing that I attended. Can we do that first? One is.
It will not be USA, it will be under my program.
Okay.
That's part of the behavioral contract. The other things that will happen is part of the behavioral contract also states that Students who are not on time and who also do not fully participate will also be sent back at their own cost, and they will need to pay the program back.
Yeah, stripping away titles or positions, like you guys are UHHSA students, so you're gonna represent in sacred spaces on
Right.
Kaua'i, UHHSA. So ultimately, right now we're looking at her as a UHHSA student, being able to go into this area and the opportunity.
So then my second part of that is that, Ryan, you weren't able to make it, but I went to this, fiscal training, I think you were there. We are required to do an approval and denial letter whenever we're funding. And part of that approval and denial letter, there is things that we can stipulate as far as we require them to give so many hours back for this funding. So, I think that if we are gonna motion, we should be sending this, and it is signed by the RESOs and everything, so I think this should be something that should be signed by Amber, just that she understands that we did approve for her to go on this and to follow the behavioral contracts and stuff. That's fine.
Allison?
I think it's a great idea to send her. We've already allocated the funds, and I don't see a requirement for a contract. She's a UHCO student, she's a student conduct, whatever, like, she's a responsible person, and I think we don't need a contract. I think it's a good idea to send her.
I just wanted to state that this training is under my program and under my leadership guidelines. So any students who attend it are going to adhere to all the same guidelines, whether they come from a CSO or if they are a UHHSA student. One of the things that you may not be aware of is that students who attend will need to also participate in Kalamaku leadership activities. So I do not feel that there needs to be another contract on this. If you feel that there are consequences that need to be done, you can file a code of conduct with Kelly Oates, and she can decide if that is the case.
I have one final question before moving on to a vote. Could any of these students in here request to go on this trip?
Currently, that trip was actually for our student leaders. It's actually a trip and training that was specifically designed with Kaua'i Teen Challenge for your training as CSO leaders, which is one of my responsibilities.
So technically, no. So I'm just, just putting this out there.
However, this is an unusual case.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Because it was not Amber's choice to not go. That was a choice that was made upon her removal by UHHSA.
So just setting for the record. With that being stated, I would like to ask for a vote or motion to approve Amber Shells to attend this training in Kaua'i.
I move to approve Amber Schaus's attendance to the Kaua'i Leadership Challenge.
I second that.
Leadership training.
Alright, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All those abstaining? The ayes have it. I'm going to request that Leomi contact Amber, is that okay? To inform her that the UHHSA Senate highly encourages her and approves of her attendance at this training and requests that she enjoys herself.
You also need to be aware that she may also request that she not attend, but it's going to be her choice. So I hope you guys will respect that due to the circumstances. Thank you.
No problem. All right, with that, we are moving on to the treasurer report, 5.2.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it out for everybody so you guys have numbers. So I'll just go over it, it's just to go over, so our current budget, the student fees collected was $166,284. The carryover from last year was $25,594. So our total starting budget is $191,878.03. Purchases that carried over from last year that came out is the bags for projectors for the housing was $50. Campus Center, the projectors, the monitors, and the box was $505.25. Media equipment for USA, which was the camera and stuff purchased, is $1,193.55. The Ooh La La app for the 2 years is $1,500 a piece, so it comes out to a total of $3,000. The Project Kaua'i for the registration fee, it's a resale that we approved. It was $1,991, so a total of the pending purchases that happened was $6,739.80. Our total purchases for this year so far is Sodexo for the orientation dance, $2,466.41. USA summer stipends was $3,662.50. The charger to replace for the Mac laptop was $15.42. Kaua'i Challenge registration fee for the 3 members to attend was $255. Airfare and hotel was $1,357.28. Budget rental car for the Kaua'i was $203.50. And the Campus Center fiscal pay for this from July up until is $439.11 with a total of $8,399.22. So total expenditures to date is $15,139.02. So our total remaining budget as of right now is $176,739.01. At the end, it just says that I received the most current profit and loss statement from Campus Center on September 30th. I do have a copy if you guys want to see it, just let me know. It is here. It does give the breakdowns. I am going to be emailing Campus Center to follow up on some amounts listed on the P&L, as I believe some of them could be duplicate charges that we paid for. Also, there are charges from the end of the spring semester, beginning of summer semester trip to Calopa that I need to get some clarification on. Just because what we budgeted and what was spent has gone over, so I'm trying to get some clarification on what can happen. So I will be emailing that to Campus Center, and once I find out the status of these charges, I will update the budget and I will update you guys. Any questions?
All right. Any questions? What's the acceptable percentage for surplus or carryover from the previous year?
In our budget, we cannot have less than 5% or more than 16% of the expenditures from the previous year. And that's mandated by the BOR.
Thank you, Treasurer Alice.
Well, what happens if there's more or less?
Less we could get a talking to, I don't know, but more than it could mean that they could take it. So, and there has been threats of taking student fees in accounts that are more than. And there's been threats for many years now to do a complete swipe of any overages, whether it falls within that amount or not. So we're just really trying to pay attention and make sure that we adhere to those. And that's school budget as well. It's not just student fees, it's a mandate by the BOR for even our school budget.
Keep in mind though, this is during like the budget crisis and all that those threats are thrown out, and majority of those threats were actually directed at CSOs with higher revenues, so like Mano, those were actually the targets, but nobody really wants to come after our
Mano is under.
Oh, Mano. Anyway, moving on, we have no unfinished business. Moving on to new business, 7.1, appointment to chair the Gen Ed Faculty Congress Committee. I would like to ask if anyone would like to volunteer.
I volunteer.
The VP so volunteers and I so follow forth to appoint him as chair of the General Education Faculty Congress Committee. I would like to ask for a motion to approve. Treasurer Alice.
I move to approve the appointment of AJ for the chair of Gen Ed Faculty Congress Committee.
I have a second.
Second.
Second by Kaua'i Senator Tam. Any discussion? All right, going to vote. All those in favor of approving the appointment of the VP to the chair of the Faculty, General Education Faculty Congress Committee. The question?
No.
Oh,
Why not?
you didn't call. Okay. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed. All those abstain. Good job. Abstention 901. Moving on, 7.2, the appointment of the chair of the food committee. I would like to request that anyone like to volunteer to be the chair of the food committee. Oh, I see two hands. Two.
I'd like to volunteer.
I will. You sure? You know, you guys don't want to like.
We can.
I can help her.
Okay, so co-chairs, co-chairs,
Yeah.
co-chairs. Okay, awesome. See, making bombs. Okay. I would like to request for a motion to approve the appointing of Ricky as chair and.
Motion.
Oh, sorry,
Ricky
Senator.
and Mindy as chairs.
I apologize,
Food
Senator.
committee.
God.
Second.
Yes, second. Okay. So, motioning, seconding, thank you. All those in favor of approving this appointment? All those opposed? All those abstaining? 802. All right, that passes. And finally, the appointment of the chair who's the Constitution, bylaws, and Senate rules. Anyone like to volunteer? Anyone else? Oh, two people. It's gonna get fun. Okay, so you guys wouldn't mind being co-chairs on that? Okay, awesome. So I would like to ask for someone to motion to approval of Treasurer Alice.
I motion to approve the appointment. I move to approve the appointment of co-chairs Ryan and AJ for the Constitution, bylaws, and Senate rules committee.
Second.
Wait, what, who?
Ryan James.
Second.
I'm gonna go with Senator Woods.
I second that.
Senator Woods, seconds. Okay, all those in favor of approving this appointment, raise your hand. All those opposed? All those abstain?
I'm pretty sure I can vote for myself in that situation. I don't have to abstain.
This is really colorful. Okay. So, for the appointment of the chair of the Bio Search Committee, I would like to appoint myself. Yes, Treasurer Alice.
I move to approve the appointment of President Tsai for the chair of the Advisor Search Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by VP Jose. Discussion?
I'd like to be a part of that committee. I don't know where that, I don't necessarily have to go co-chair, but
Okay.
I'd like to be a member of that committee.
Definitely. I will
Co-chair,
work you in.
Likewise.
co-chair,
Likewise, I'd like
Okay.
to join the committee.
triple chair.
I will add you to the email list. Okay. All those in favor of approving
I have a
this
question,
appointment?
real quick.
Raise your hand. All those opposed? Opposed? Abstaining?
Can I ask a quick question?
Not necessary for this. We're just approving appointments. I'm not going to.
Well, I'm just
Moving
wondering,
on
maybe from
to
experts,
7.5
they can talk on,
Senate Bill 1516-006.
since the
Who's
president
training?
appoints,
Treasurer Alice.
does that make a difference?
Treasurer Alice.
I move to table this Senate bill
Second.
until next meeting.
Second to table by VP. All right, we have a motion to table this to the next agenda. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, abstain, ayes have it, this is tabled to 15, 16, 14. Yes,
Sorry, a student has a question, I just really like for an input.
okay.
Yeah, I am a political science major, but I haven't thought on the issue. So
Mhm.
maybe you can just look into the fact that since you're technically supposed to make the appointment, if there's some kind of, conflict with you being the, potentially the chair of the advisor committee. Yeah. So just look into that, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if there was a conflict and the Senate believed there to be such, they could have voted be no.
Yeah. So just look into it.
So moving on.
Oh, yeah.
No, Daniel. Oh, sorry, Senator Woods.
Considering that you have to volunteer, it's like voluntary. I feel like appointing and volunteering are basically the same thing. Since he technically has to say I have to appoint this person, he can't really say I volunteer. I have to appoint myself. So that's the use of.
You're supposed to appoint committee chairs, yeah.
Moving on to UHHSA committee reports. 8.1, parking appeals. Now, this is rolling over from 15-1611. If you want to just give a quick report.
I met up with faculty and I think 2 faculty members, or like a staff and faculty, and we just reviewed some of the cases. Not going to talk about really what happened, but we just met up, we went through all the cases, and that was basically the end of that. And we're not going to meet again until the end of the semester. We don't have a date set up. I think that's first guard who lets us know once there are people who make appeals, and then he kind of just pulls them all, so everything's like a bunch, and we just meet together.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to BOR.
We briefly talked with Mindy about the budget, and we wouldn't be able to make it for the October, but we should be able to make it for the November one. I'll then talk to them about that. Budget.
Thank you. Public relations.
So Kobe Senator Pham joined Public Relations, and we've been working on providing free coffee, tea, hot water, and cocoa to students in our office every Monday and Tuesday. And it's been going very well, so we want to continue to do that. We've also cleaned up the bulletin board down by the Library of the Night, and yeah, that's all for updates.
Oh, we're working on business cards.
Yeah.
Good. I see.
Still waiting on a date for our meeting with the Director of Athletics. So that's when we have an actual meeting.
Library.
So I spoke with Helen Rogers, who's the director, and she talked to me about how funding for the library works. So it turns out that funding for the library is actually paid for by UHHSA and HCC, but UHHSA has lion's share. The reason that Saturdays are closed now is because it was never actually in the budget to begin with. It was money given to us by the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs after UHHSA members rallied support and had petitions, and the Vice Chancellor graciously gave us money. But now that enrollment is down, the library actually doesn't have their budget for the year yet. Academic Affairs, the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs has to allocate money to the library, as well as his budget goes towards hiring professors for classes, what classes he needs to cut, like everything. So I am working on a petition to have the library open on Saturdays, and I would like the rest of the Senate support. If Senate does not want to do that, I'll do that on my own time. But I will be having a petition sent out. Hopefully by next week it will be approved and we can start petitioning. I also have copies of state budget money and how much money our school is allocated by state money, if you guys want that. and I also have copies of, this is all public information, as far as, how our money is going to be allocated, as far as, budget committee for the school hasn't determined where the money will be going, but that's, really important to us to see where our student fees are going, where state money is going, and how the school is properly utilizing it. That's mine.
So, before I go my husband's friend, I look forward to.
If you need help writing the petition, yeah, I'd be willing to help.
Treasurer Alice.
Sorry, I just wanted to share about this budget real quick that Ali passed out. So I attended the last faculty congress meeting for Chantal. It was in September. And just to let you guys know that UHHSA is not following in that 5 and 16%. We're way above the 16%.
I passed out the reserves.
Oh.
I didn't get a copy of the reserves yet, so I will get to that.
Yeah, so UHHSA is above that 16%. We had a way bigger carryover, and so there's about a $26 million surplus. And we got permission from the BOR to spend down about 17 of it, but that means that potentially we could lose the remaining amount. And from what I understand at the faculty congress meeting, that they shared that Marcia Sakai is trying to get input, and so I think that as USA we should be looking at some stuff, but I know she is favoring to update in the technology Wi-Fi type services on campus. So just to let you guys know that was what she shared at the faculty congress meeting.
Okay, so everyone knows it's in my hand. There's an estimate FYI 16 for fiscal years 2016
It's
ending.
actually over the 16%.
Yeah. So there's a line that says this is where you should be at, and all of our sister schools are way down there, and we are way almost over. And so if you want to look for that twin tower looking one.
Oh no.
What is that?
And this is the line that we should be at. This little one. So this is Manoa, the one with barely any money. Then UH, then West Oahu, and the CCs, and then system support. So UHHSA really knows how to save its money, apparently. Yes.
Considering that we're super good at saving money, how would we go about influencing the administration's decision as to how that insane amount of millions of dollars is spent? What if we could either do something for the students, such as a reimbursement, because it is necessary to have some rainy day funds. It's not necessary to have that.
Sorry, just real quick, because that amount is not student fees, so it's not a student refund that would happen. It would be like, it's from general funds from the legislature and what we get federal funding. So if to use that, it would be to do campus improvements and like the library lanai needs to be redone, or the campus technology a lot of it doesn't work. So it's stuff like that, and I would say that USA should start looking around campus and finding out what can, and we can write a resolution and take it to faculty congress.
Why
Okay.
couldn't we use the same?
It's gonna have to cut you just real quick.
Yeah, so, I actually spoke with, somebody from the budget committee, and the way she explained it was, we have a gigantic rainy day fund because we're Hilo. But, so, we haven't been, the money that's being used is state money, so state money can only be used, I have another form, I didn't copy it, but state money can only be used towards things like improving the school, so, what the school is trying very hard to reduce the reserves, and so that means that we will be seeing, a amount of money that will be towards improvement on campus in the future, but, if we don't, I think we as Media Senate can talk about, pushing BOR to give us our money back, because we actually have to go to BOR as a school and say, can we have our money? If we do not in fact spend down, what the BOR wants to happen is to take that portion of money, like 5,000, however much it is, and give it to Manoa, since Manoa's been spending a lot.
Not thousand.
Not thousands, millions.
So
Yeah.
there's
So
a
that's
line,
big
and
thing that's
Manoa
happening
is
right now.
well below it, and they need to be up here, so they wanna take our little extra and give them a little extra so they're even.
So what's happening in faculty now is that, they're taking things to, proposals to spend the money as of now in the academic.
Maybe.
I think what you should also be aware of is that some of that funding is allocated for certain projects that haven't been spent yet, like the overhead crosswalk thing that they wanna build from the housing to here, from having more lighting. Also, some of the reason why that funding is there, I know in the past, was because we're in a tsunami and highly earthquake zone area. So that if there is any damages and that flooded, then that money could be used for, also for improvements in those areas. And I'm not sure if many of you have seen the news lately, but there has been a lot of things going on at Manoa where they've actually had to close some of their buildings because they don't have enough money to actually upkeep it. And that's what we don't want to happen here.
Treasurer Alice, then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, point of order that we're at our 1 hour, so if we want to continue on, we would need to motion to extend our meeting, or if we wanna table the rest of these to be just submitted.
I would like to request that this minute extend and that we allocate approximately 3 minutes per item so that we don't overdo it. Is there a motion to extend?
I move to extend our meeting by 24 minutes. Supervised for the 3 minutes per item.
Second by Colby Pennington. All those in favor of extending our meeting by exactly 24 minutes after this thing has been approved, say aye or raise your hand. Abstain? Nay? Okay, ayes have it. All right, we're gonna move on to Ho'olauea. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. Kaua'i committee members have been sent a doodle to find out when we can have our first meeting so that we can start scheduling everything. I'm just wanted to ask if anybody is willing to volunteer themselves to be co-chair for our Kaua'i Senate. Anyone? Please.
Not co-chair of the whole Ho'olauea.
Oh yeah. As for the USA part of
Yeah.
it, USA part of this.
I do not want to co-chair, but I will
You're doing a lot.
volunteer
Okay.
my assistance.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that all?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, moving on. USA Constitution, Bylaws, Senate Rules.
As freshly appointed chair to this committee, I think it's, just on the note of it, I think it's probably one of the most important things for us to focus our attention on. A lot of things arise from the unclearness of them, and it's something that I would encourage all UHHSA students to participate in, because having a solid framework for us to operate off of is not only good for us, but it benefits all students as well. That's it.
Look for an email tonight. I'm gonna send you guys the Constitution, bylaws, and Senate rules. Review it. It's gonna come out, and then we can talk about it, hopefully in the operations session next week.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you. Moving on, Klamaku.
Okay. So I did email Naomi, so I'm just waiting to hear back from her if we can do a meetup.
It's coming soon.
I know. The meeting is coming, I know this. Okay. So yes, that's about it for Klamaku.
Thank you. Commencement.
Commencement report I shared at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. No update? Okay, caucus.
Okay, caucus report, I gave it last time. Did you guys review the executive policy?
Yes, I did.
Did everybody read it over?
I skimmed through it.
Okay. Are you guys okay to be giving your stance on it tonight, or do you guys, be sure you guys have to do it next week because the meeting's next Saturday? So does everybody want to look at it again, and next week we actually vote on what we want to give our stance as for the caucus meeting? Okay, so please, I will send out an email reminder, but please look over that executive policy. Like I said, it affects I don't think it's a good idea as far as UHHSA to be supporting it, because they are trying to get away with, the policy is to remove degrees that do not confer a high number of people. With our school, not having many majors or many people being conferred into some majors, we might be losing some of our majors, so.
When do you need this by?
By next meeting.
By next meeting. Okay, with that being said,
So by the exec board meeting, could you please, email me your thoughts by,
one step faster. I'm going to set a deadline by the next executive meeting, 5 p.m. Tuesday. As the same, like I stated before, use the committee report form. That you're going to use the executive, what's that thing title? Caucus executive, a caucus executive policy. That's what you'll label it as when you do your Senate report. Type in how you feel, the actions we should take, summary, and then send off. That will also be due by the executive meeting Tuesday, 5 o'clock. Busy weekend. Is that better? Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, moving on. Food committee.
I do have one point. I'd really like to start looking into EBT for the cafeteria as well as the rest of campus. I know Island Naturals is trying to come up with a plan for EBT, but I don't think they've installed it yet, so I just want to update. I just want to talk to them.
So as a word of advice, Department of Human Services is the first place you're gonna go. Located right there on Kaua'i in the Kaua'i shopping center next to the old folks home. You can go right in there and just ask questions. They'll give you all the details on what you need to follow.
Okay.
They also have tons of pamphlets. And then the next person you're gonna have to talk to is Sodexo.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Also as helping with that committee, I do have, this thing called Healthy Vending Machine. It's by Human, and it, has healthier vending options. There's no cost for us. We would just have to ask to be using the outlets. And it reduces the energy used, by 50%, plus you get a portion of the proceeds of the sales. So I do wanna look into that, about maybe testing out, like right in front of our office at Campus Center, that maybe we can do it. There's no cost for the machine or anything. They come and do it, they come and fill it up. So,
Okay.
It's something I wanted to look into maybe.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yes, right.
The only thing I'll say is there's a serious red flag drawn ethically when you have a vending machine that you charge students and then you take that money back.
So I'm just going to answer the group. If there is any funds allocated, and it does go to USA, I'm sure that we will allocate that funds for something specifically student oriented. CSOs in the past have charged for events and taken in, I guess, revenue, but I don't think that's the point of this venture. It's to provide a healthier option at a lower price. We are not responsible for, I guess, the machine. We're just offering a place and an option. So
My point is
if
that
we do cross that bridge, and I do hope that you're there, so you can definitely bring this up again, but I'm pretty sure that we are committed not to, I guess, profit off our students, but to provide. And if you never know, if it's a hit, we could probably utilize the money for scholarships or trips for students to go visit, do things like leadership. But thinking positive, we need to get there first. Okay, moving on. Who is, Gen Ed Faculty Congress.
That's me. Nothing to report.
Good job. Earth Day.
I believe Amber was the head of that committee, but
Okay.
but I'd like to volunteer myself.
It's true. Okay.
If I could do
I would like to appoint someone to the Earth Day committee. You volunteer?
I volunteer.
Okay. I would like to appoint Senator Kahande as chair of the Earth Day committee. Yes, Treasurer Alice.
I move to approve the appointment of Senator at Large Kahande to the Earth Day Committee.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of this appointment, please raise your hand. All those opposed? All those abstained? 9-0-1. Save the earth. Okay. Closing up with announcement, Leadership Challenge 2 modules. Mod 1 is October 10th and 11th, 9 to 3:30 p.m. CC 103. Mod 2 is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Thursday, starting October 22nd to November 12th. And final training November 21st, 9 to 1 p.m. CC 103. Advisor, do you have anything to report? Oh, 301, dyslexia. Advisor, do you have any report?
Yeah.
Treasurer Alice?
Yeah, I just wanted, sorry, they should have been on here, but announcements is that the, USA boot camp is on November.
Oh.
November 7th.
Yeah.
November 7th.
Room reservation.
A room reservation we put in for November 7th?
Yeah.
After the meeting, you will be announced the when.
Is there a
Yes.
specific time?
Working on it.
Yeah, that's what we.
Working on it.
It's supposed to be kind of an all-day thing.
Working on it.
So should I just reserve the room for all day?
Yes.
Okay, so, to be announced on location and time, but block off your entire day. Moving on to advisory report number 10.
What was number 1? Make a Difference Day is one of the programs that I do. It is on October the 24th, which is a Saturday. I will send you all more information via the listserv.
And I still adjourn this meeting at 9:15, finishing up with the announcement that next meeting is October 9th. October 15th, 8 p.m., Campus Center 306. We adjourn at 9:15.